We're coming back to our focus this morning right here on eNCA, and it's exam Matric season. For grade 12s, this is a very stressful time of the year. If you've passed through Matric, you know how nerve-wracking it is. But this year's cohort has had to deal with several schooling interruptions. For pupils in KwaZulu-Natal, it's been particularly tough after the devastating April floods. And now they go into exam rooms with the very real possibility of power cuts. So let's find out more from KZN Education HOD, Mr. Nkosinathi Ngcobo, joining us this very morning. Mr. Ngcobo, thank you for your time and good morning to you. My first question to you being about Matric preparation, the exam preparation, from not only the matriculant standpoint, but also for you as a department. How's it been going with the ongoing load shedding?
Good morning, hello.
Yes, Mr. Ngcobo, how's the preparation going and the exams going with the ongoing load shedding within the province?
Yes, I can say that, the cohort of matriculants that's writing this year has had a number of problems besides just load shedding. You will remember that they were in grade 10 and 11 in the 2 years of COVID. And at least this year, they were able to not to be disrupted during the schooling year in as much as they were in the last 2 years before they wrote their matric. In relation to our own preparations, I think we've done everything as a department to ensure that our learners have maximum opportunity of succeeding in the upcoming examinations. With load shedding, it is indeed a problem in relation to preparations in particular, because learners have to study before they actually write, exams. But we have given our learners study tips to ensure that, they get the load shedding schedule in their areas where they are, and then use the hours where there's load shedding for rest if it happens at night. But during the day, of course, they would be able to continue studying even if there's load shedding. But if it's at night, we've advised that either they use that time for rest, because when you're studying, you do have to give yourself time to rest as well, or provide alternative lighting at that point. Yeah. So we believe that it's not going to be much of an effect. It could have an effect on the days when we're writing subjects like computer applications, technology, and IT, which we have already written, because those are dependent really on the presence of electricity.
Yeah, and have you engaged in alternative energy for particularly that reason, for practical such as CAT, computer application technology, IT, to ensure that they will be able to access those computers during the exams?
Yes, our national department has engaged ESCOM to ensure that during critical times such as those, that load shedding is avoided where it is possible. But in those schools, we've also provided backup generators in case it happens. In fact, the computer applications technology has been written already, and all went well during that day when we were writing computer application technology.
Yeah. Mr. Ngcobo, I want to also touch on, the impact of the floods back in April within the province of KwaZulu-Natal. Any schools that were impacted directly by those floods, have you taken care of those infrastructure to ensure that matriculants will be able to access schools and school buildings so that they can proceed to write their exams?
Yes, Tumelo, we've ensured that no learner is further prejudiced beyond the fact that their homes were flooded in April. Even when the flood happened in April, we went to all the centers where there were communities housed there in the temporary shelters, and we identified all learners that were there, placed them in nearest schools while we were repairing, while we were doing some repairs in their own schools. But that was only temporary. Most of the children went back to their schools because we provided makeshift classrooms at that point. Oh. But of course, I must admit that there are learners who are still in those in those shelters, but we know them by name, by grade, and by school, and we have provided all the assistance to ensure that they are not disadvantaged beyond just being having to stay in a shelter. And our schools have provided extra support for them. They've been part of all our programs, winter programs that we had, and the spring classes that we just finished, a week ago. They participated fully there. So we are confident that none of them will be prejudiced, disadvantaged by the fact that they are living in shelters. Because
I need to ask this last question to you, Mr. Ngcobo, due to time, and if you may, please provide an answer as briefly as you can. Because of the social challenges currently experienced within the province of KwaZulu-Natal, the anxiety that matriculants are going through, what is your department doing with the assistance of teachers to ensure that you also ensure there isn't any cheating, any copying, any access to matric exam papers during this time, learners feeling that they're hopeless, they haven't prepped enough or aren't supported enough, they're filled with anxiety and thinking that cheating might be the way to go to proceed to the next level after matric. I mean, what are you doing as a department and teachers to ensure that that doesn't happen?
During preparation time, when they study, and even during the course of the year, we've been providing psychosocial support to our learners so that we minimize anxiety that goes with having to write examinations. We've also trained our invigilators to ensure that our examinations are free of any irregularities, and that things that are not supposed to be brought into the examination rooms, like cell phones, like notes, are not brought there. We've also worked with we are working with the law enforcement authorities to ensure that culprits who are bent on trying to disrupt our examinations by leaking papers, that they are brought to book. We are really on the alert together with the law enforcement authorities to ensure that there's no cheating during this examination.